The start of the Gravity Railroad loaded track tour as they come up Church Street. Saturday morning, November 14th.
Geological information in the area. In fact, this whole region, if you look at a map of Pennsylvania back then, says it was called the Big Swamp. So what they would do is they would go along the rivers and the creeks, and they would look to see where they could find a coal seam, and then they would open up a mine. So they came down to White Oak Creek. It was the creek that we were just standing in there. And if you go down the tracks here and go to the left, that's where they found the outcropping of coal. So they started to mine there, and they made the plans to extend the Gravity Railroad this far in order to get the coal over the D&H Canal. So road, and they paralleled it up to the top. The Jones, Simpson, and Eaton started mining on that side of the town because they got the coal rights over there. And what they did is they constructed a rail bed across the river and down to bring the coal over to here, and then they would ship it up this way. This would be, and I'll pass it around, this would be a picture of the first breaker that was here, okay? And the scene on the other side would be up on this hill looking down towards the town. And you can see that the church wasn't there yet. And you'll be able to see in the corner of the picture, or the center, the canal that they dug from White Oak Run all the way down to Seaplane, because that was run by water.
How long was that for them?
Hillside. And if you looked at the early breakers, they were all built on the side of hills. So they wouldn't have to build them that high. So, they built on the house with the square roof. So you can't see it anymore, but the square roof is still there. And there's what the scene you would have seen if you were standing here. That house down here below with this roof is situated right over there. So for years, the railroad used to run around that way and bring the coal back here. Then they decided to build another breaker, the Raymond breaker, right where all those expensive houses are right now. And they didn't need this line anymore. They then took...
The Raymond was over by Roosevelt School?
No, the Raymond was, you know where the entrance is to Lockheed Martin?
Yep.
On Kennedy Drive. If you walk down, if you go down into where those
Down
new
toward the
houses are.
cemetery.
No, right straight through where the houses are. In fact, if you go down, there's one house, and I guess people didn't know that there was a breaker there, but in their backyard, there's a huge concrete wall that they decorated, and the concrete wall was the foundation for the breaker. Right here is where you can actually see where the light track is you're going to start to see the elevation of it. Okay, and it's right along here. And as we're walking up, you're going to see that it's getting higher and higher. It did run through there, but lumbering and other railroad concerns wiped it out, so it's difficult to see where it was from here down. But it continued to roll downhill until it hit where the breaker is. So as we're walking along here, if you watch to the right, you're going to see gradually where it starts to get higher and higher. And you'll see the slope that they would use. The light track in its final form, once you got to the top of Farview Mountain, the empty cars would roll down the mountain around Shepherd's Crook, come down Gravity Street in Carbondale, okay, and they would roll non-stop until they hit the baseball field, the Laurel Street baseball field. So the slant that was made for it was from the top of the mountain, and the cars needed nothing but the gravity to roll all the way down through here. And for the passenger cars, it was probably like a railroad or a roller coaster ride. Probably not as fast, but they would roll downhill without any power. And of course, in certain spots, like in Carbondale, there was a way where the empty cars would roll back in along the. There'd be a connection with the loaded track, just like up where Kennedy Drive meets Main Street. The light track, if you notice, the property is up for sale now, but right next to the Starlight Bar, there was an open lot, and they have street sign or advertisements in there now, but the land was divided at an angle. That's because that's where the roadbed went through. Okay, it went over through there, and then the light track went down on the far side of Main Street, where Gravity Street is, over by the Latter-day Saints Church. And then the loaded track was coming up the same side of the mountain, on the hill slightly above as you start to go up Kennedy Drive past Quinn's Market. Came up and bought the houses and the property, and they just took all the boards and took them down and built their own houses with them. So, now, the loaded track came across here and then down, and right down here, right where that white building is. And if you're down on the walking path where the O&W Railroad is, if you look over in that direction, you can see part of the foundation of the bridge where the loaded track crossed over the river. On this page, you can see the bridge that crossed over, and if you look at it closely, it looks like at some point, this is the original bridge, the small one, but at some point it looked like they built another roadbed on top of that.
Yep.
Okay, and if you flip the page, this is from them standing on top of that bridge, looking down the river, and you could see the White Oak Breaker there and the steeple for St. Thomas Church here. So I'll pass that around and you can look at both those.
I live in these things. Only this level of pickle.
Oh, wow. So what do you think?
There used to be an old white refrigerator here that I could always tell where it was, but the white refrigerator's gone. Straight through here is where the first plane going up number 5 hill is. You can see the indentation here. Dale and Sammy, when you guys walked up, which side did you use? That one up there,
Left
that's
side.
still the good one,
Yeah.
that has the good path. Now, what happened is, in order to get the cars to roll by gravity, they had to get them up to a high area. So there were 2 planes. The original ones were back along Hill Street. When they reconstructed it, they built 2 new planes that joined the original one at the top of the mountain. So this was plane A and then plane B. But they were also numbered 26 and 27? Let me look just to make sure I give you the right number.
And it must have started down at the bridge at the river, right?
Yeah, it went down underneath. The cars would come into there.
Yeah, come up at an angle.
It is you can see how the men were on the rail cars and they were being pulled up a plane. You can see the cables that ran underneath it. Let me look up that other thing for you.
Walking around, when we were kids, and all the stripping things, we used to find these slate things with all these tree fossils on them. Yeah, I see him often.
Okay, if you notice, it stopped going up and it kind of leveled out. So, if you look at this map, you can see that the engine house was up here, and that right below the engine house And some of it's gone. The track right over here would roll over and then hit the next plane. So we're right about there.
You're having trouble keeping up with you young guys.
A lot of it, so.
But it was down this area somewhere.
It was right over here on the side, right along here. House, okay, they would roll to this side of it. Let me get in the right direction. They would roll to this side of it. That's what we did coming down here. And then they would connect onto the next and be brought up to the top. Okay?
I wonder if that ditch was for water.
Casey Highway. There's actually a ridge that comes up in the middle of the valley. And that's what Ina was originally called. There were Welsh farmers up there, and they farmed on the ridge. So, in the northern coal fields, the beds of coal were fairly level. They dipped like this. So, if you could find an outcropping of coal, you could dig into it and let the water drain out naturally. So the D&H was, they were doing this part of it. The Jones Simpson and Company that had over the river, they had that huge ridge that wasn't washed away, and they got those coal seams and mined those. Okay?
Yeah, you gotta come up to where the metal detector, see what
The roadbed's going to be actually to the right of us as we're walking. It's just easier to walk up here. And that's a logging road, so that's fairly modern, like maybe 15 years ago. Yeah.
Sammy, is this what you were talking about?
Yeah, see how far they go down. That's where the track factory was. They dug it out. So they could
weren't they supposed to come through here with the Casey a little, and they moved it over or something?
Yeah, they did.
Little bit?
This,
This, I mean,
the loaded track, yeah.
yeah.
The rest of it was just been eliminated. Inside the engine house. And if you look out the door, you can see the embankment on either side. And if you look far enough down, you can see the wall of that cut that came through. So this area is German, okay? And Frogtown is right down there. If you turn over the other side, okay, there's another picture of it. Same guy is in it. This was misidentified as being in Oliphant, okay? The way that we knew that it was in Archibald and it was the same picture is because if you look at the boards up here in the engine house and flip it over and look at the boards in the engine house, they do the same thing, okay? Also, there's this tree and there's this pole. If you flip it over, there's the tree, there's the pole. So this is taken from the same area, and you can see where, if you look over to the
Grass, I think it's a little late.
We're not gonna grow any grass now.
looking the cars up to pull up. It was a windy day, and the scales were down here. And what happened is the car broke loose. He didn't hear it, came down, smashed him right through two buildings. Wow. Killed instantly. Yeah. Just going down.